Hello everybody and welcome back. Today is going to be an informative video on how I put text or numbers on the outside of my coasters using the 4th axis of my Mega V by MillRight. I'm going to walk you through Fusion and then how I set up the 4th axis to do what I need to do. So let's cut to Fusion. Alright, let's model this coaster. I'm going to the ZY axis. C for center point circle from origin. Click D for dimension, and it's 4.5 inches. Finish sketch. E for extrude. It is 950 thousandths thick. Turn the body off. Offset plane from origin. Go up the radius height of 2.25. Hit OK. Let's create a sketch on top of that. I like to hit P for project. Projects the sides of that. We use lines, construction lines, to find the center of our coaster. Go up to text. Make a text box. Type in what you want. These are for a friend going to Alabama, so I thought it'd be funny to say Sweet Home Alabama. For some reason, everything I do needs to be mirrored. Let's take this 90 degrees. Let's put a horizontal constraint on this so it doesn't go wonky when we drag it around. Dimension this to 1/2 inch. Drag this up a little bit. Dimension that. And it's easy to use a coincidence on this line and this one on this line. We check to make sure it's fully constrained. Finish sketch. We're going to do the same thing for the bottom. Offset plane. Minus 2 inches, 1/4 inch. Turn the body back on, okay. Orbit around to the bottom. Create sketch off of this plane. We hit P for project again, so we don't have to redraw these lines. Hit OK. And turn this sketch off so we can see what we're doing. Create text. Turn it 90 degrees, facing the same direction. Hit OK. Horizontal constraint. Dimension. Drag that up. Dimension again. Coincident point on this line. And again on this line. Again, make sure it's fully constrained. Finish sketch. Turn the other one back on. Alright, let's go to manufacturer workspace. Alright, so this will be the side that goes into the chuck. And let's get the other side. Okay. So it is very important that your WCS is in the center of this axis, the x-axis that is going to be turning about. Click solid for your stock. And I'll name this 4th axis example. Hit OK. Go up to engrave. We're going to use a 10-degree V-bit. It's very long and pointy. Give us good definition. Let's put our parameters in here. Do about 110 inches a minute. Okay, it's also very important that you hit the wrap tool path before we select our contours. Select the text, go to the heights tab. Sometimes you don't have a lot of room to work with in the Z travel, so sometimes I'll take the retract height down some. Take down to 100 thousandths. Okay, in the bottom height, select your contours. This is how we'll set our depth. And we'll go 30 thousandths deep. Okay. Don't really need to do anything over here. Hit OK. Let's go flat and then wrap. And we can turn the model off so we can see it. And we'll go simulate. Turn the model off again. And there it goes. Don't be alarmed that the tool is moving and not the part. You can change that. Go over to the viewpoint, tool, and it'll do the tool. Which I don't know why you'd want to watch that. That's crazy. Anywho. Alright, once you're satisfied, you right click, post process. Go to your 4th axis post processor. Your name and everything's be in there, whatever folder you want. Make sure it's about the x-axis. And you're good to go. Push post. Okay, so here's my setup. I built this table so I could take the aluminum bed out and still have access to the bottom. And I tore this all apart. It comes with a mount for on the bed, but I wanted it on the table. So I trued it up between the two, drilled some holes in the table, and bolted it fast. I also couldn't turn big enough pieces with how it was. These chuck jaws kept hitting off of here, so I turned this spacer. So now I can do large items. So this is the bit we're going to use. Super sharp and pointy 10-degree V-bit. Get some nice fine detail with these. Let's get it chucked up. Alright, so all my coasters have this lip from the bull and tray cutter. And I mount it to the 4th axis to make a grip on the inside of here. So I put it in there like so, and then I actually loosen it to tighten it up on there, if that makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Alright, now that we have this chucked up, we're going to set our zeros. And remember I said in the fusion part that it needs to be dead center on here. So we need to find what our radius will be. This is about 4.5 inches. So our radius will be 2 1/4. So I'm going to walk you through UGS on how to do this. Okay, so here we are in UGS. The first things first, we're going to connect. I mean, we're already connected, but we're going to home the machine so it knows where it is. By the way, this is the only time I use UGS because it has the jog functions for the A-axis, which makes things so much easier. So UGS itself is not easier. This is my 2 cents. Okay, so now the machine is homed. So let's move over there so we can see what's going on. Okay, so the machine is homed and the bit is in the machine. And our coaster is chucked up in our vise. So now I'm going to jog it over to here. I personally like to set my y-axis first. And then we'll come and do the x. And then we'll do the z. Okay, so here we are trying to set the y-axis. So I'm going to jog the machine until it's in the center of the coaster here. 0. Now we'll set the 0 on UGS and move on to the X. One more time for the X. What we want is the tip of this cutter to be at the very leading edge of the coaster. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Bring the Z down a little bit so we can see it better. Okay, there we are. Now let's do our Z. Okay, for the Z, I use a piece of paper for a feeler gauge. And I bring that down so it just pinches that paper in there. And then I'll set my Z 0. But that's not the true 0, and that's why we needed to find a radius. So we'll find the 0 off of here, set that, move it over, drop it down to a radius depth, and then set our true 0. Show you what I'm talking about. There, that pinched the paper, so we're going to set the 0 there. Now we're going to pick it up in the Z-axis and move it over out of the way. Alright, now the cutter's out of the way. We're going to bring it down 2 1/4 inches. So that'll put our 0 right dead center of the coaster. Okay, so there's 2 1/4 inches down from the top of this. And that's why we did that. We needed to find the very top of this and bring it down exactly 2 1/4 inches. So now it is in the very center of that face of the coaster. So now it's time to raise it back up, load the file, and hit go. Okay, so here's the file loaded, and I wanted to say don't be alarmed if in the 3D viewer it looks like a whole bunch of nothing. It really is something, so just be aware of that. Alright, let's get to it. let's arm the machine and see what we have. Alright, there it is, what it looks like done. There's a bunch of little fuzzies in there, so we're going to take this wire brush and try to clean that out some. There's all that stuff flying everywhere. I'm going to be careful not to break anything. You can break those little lines in there if you made them too small. Ask me how I know. And there it is. And here we are, lacquered up, cleaned up, polished up. It's a finished product. Well, everybody, there you have it. That's how I wrap text around my coasters and other cylindrical items. I sincerely hope this helps somebody, because I know I sure banged my head against the wall for the first couple months of having this fourth axis. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask, and I will try to do a video on those as well. If you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe. Thank you.